Hi, I'm Kirsten, fellow mom, and your biggest cheerleader in all things motherhood and parenting. My husband and I co founded Parker Baby Co. with one mission in mind: to nurture and grow strong families. And that mission continues right here on Rooted Conversations. So grab a cozy drink, take a deep breath, and remember, you're not alone in this journey. Hey everyone, welcome back to Rooted Conversations. I am Kirsten Hebner, co-founder of Parker Baby, and this is my good friend Hannah. And she is the new founder of her practice, Pinery Pediatrics. She is amazing. She just founded this amazing practice in Parker, Colorado. And I'm so excited to hear more about her starting this and her experience with this. But we kind of met through my sister-in-law, and we had a book club when I was in Colorado, and our friendship just blossomed through that. And it's just one of those people that when you are around her, you walk out of that room or that time with her, and you just like, I want to know her more, or I want to be more like Hannah. She's just that person that you want to know more about her. You want to be around her more, and you just find yourself drawn to her. So I'm really excited for you guys to get to know her and hear more about what she has to say. We're going to talk about the flu season, because I just had two kids home with the flu pretty bad the past couple weeks. And then I know it's going really bad here in Nebraska, and I think Colorado has it pretty bad right now, and in December too. So, and I also have some questions, and also just some people that reached out to me that wanted to just give their love for Hannah. Everyone just loves Hannah. So some people that had some comments of just how much they appreciate Hannah too. So, Hannah, she has two kids, Adele and William. So, Hannah, tell me, what am I missing?
Well, first of all, that was way a lot. You are too kind. And yes, it's hard making friendships when you are an adult. But meeting you has been just one of the biggest joys over the last couple of years. And it's just so amazing when you have, those good mom friends that are kind of going through it with you. And you're a couple of years ahead of me in terms of kids' ages. So I appreciate your immense wisdom more than you know. But yeah, no, you maybe included a little more than you even needed to. But thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Yes, yeah. So Adele is 5?
Yeah, newly 5.
Yeah.
Yes.
And William is 3?
He will be 3 in May, so we're getting very close to the 5 and 3 mark, but we still have a 2-year-old. So
how's that going?
It's going. They are. I have been blessed with 2 totally different parenting experiences. So I have not only is just like the gender differences of having a boy and a girl, but just 2 completely different temperaments. So I feel like it has given me a broader understanding of just parenting in general, because it is, even within one family, not one size fits all. And so that has been challenging and beautiful and amazing all at once. But yeah, we're in the midst of young children, which is like the best kind of busy. But
yes, I love it. And then tell me more about like where you're at and why you decided to branch out and make your own start your own practice at Pinery Pediatrics.
So I have worked at kind of like, I guess, big box is maybe the way that you should say it, but I've worked at like the big commercialized pediatric offices pretty much like my whole career as a pediatric nurse practitioner, which is going on 9 years, which is crazy to think about. And I have been able to get really, really amazing experience and have had some amazing mentors, but in the last, I would say, like 3 to 4 years, healthcare has just changed a lot, and being a parent has changed a lot. And after becoming a mom myself, I just felt like I was observing a lot of people on social media being like, I would never tell my pediatrician X, or people
Mm-hmm.
going to social media for medical advice because they didn't feel like they had a safe person in their pediatric provider. Or
Mm-hmm.
I would be at my office and, just had a vision, I guess, the whole time of what I wanted the experience to be like for moms, and ultimately decided that the best way for me to provide that for people would just to kind of be my own office. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
really creative person, and I love like change and thinking out of the box. And parenting, each generation of moms has different challenges and different concerns
Mm-hmm.
and different priorities. And as a pediatric provider, I really, really, really want to make sure that the advice that I'm giving to people is very personalized for their family, for their situation, for their needs. And when you
Mm-hmm.
have like such cookie cutter information that is never changes, or the answer is, well,
Mm-hmm.
we were doing this because that's the way we've always done it, like that's just not how parenting works. And
Right.
so I just wanted to
And
create,
motherhood works. I mean,
yeah,
every child,
yeah.
like you said, every child is different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just wanted a little bit more like hands-on control over the experiences that my families have. And I'm also super creative, and so I always wanted to be either in healthcare or a teacher. And so I feel like
Mm-hmm.
kind of this has allowed me an outlet that I wasn't really getting, before. And then also just as a mom, like it's so beautiful kind of being in charge of yourself, because if my kids have something at 4:30 and I really want to be there, I can make it work to be there. So
Yeah.
just wanting to be
Mm-hmm.
like the best mom, but also like in my professional realm, like be the best I can be. And I think that this is the answer for all of that.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. I know, like, when I was there, that was just on your heart so much, was like missing some of those moments and like that time.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for you. I'm just
Yeah.
really proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, what has been like the hardest part of all this?
I think just the juggling all of it, especially, when I was working and this was kind of in the back, I was working my
Yeah.
full-time job and then coming home
Mm-hmm.
and being a mom. And then, the kids would go to sleep, and I would, my husband and I would be up kind of working on this
Yeah.
for a couple of hours. And that was just
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And I think it's scary. It's scary kind of
Yeah. Ugh.
leaving a super stable career to do
Yeah.
something that like my heart is here. And I am so grateful that this is all, possible with a lot of like good family support. And just we've spent a lot of time researching, and like this has been very thoughtful. But it's stressful when, you're kind
Yeah.
of jumping into something that is maybe not quite as secure. But yeah, I think the balance is always like that's the first thing that comes to my head when you ask like
Mm-hmm.
what's the most stressful, cuz you feel like a bad parent for, maybe rushing bedtime cuz you have 8 tasks to do,
Right.
and you feel like
Mm-hmm.
you could be doing better if you put an iPad in front of them while you get a task done on the weekend that is time sensitive,
Right.
cuz there's just you just got to it's kind of survival mode a little bit. But
Right. For
so there's
sure.
like guilt
For
that comes
sure.
with that. But I think there's a season for everything. And yeah, it's all good but
And you
stressful.
made it through.
Yeah,
You made
yeah,
it through
yeah.
that season. You're
Yes,
on the other side.
yes, we're on
So,
the other side.
um, okay, flu season.
Yes.
What have you been seeing? What have
Mhm.
you observed? And how's it going there?
So if moms that are listening feel like this particular season has been excruciatingly heavy, or your kids are sick constantly, you're not making it up. If you look at numbers and you read articles about the flu, this is one of the most significant seasons that we've
Mhm.
experienced as a collective society in quite some time. And so people are sick, and they're sick with a lot of different things. And the kids that
Mhm.
are getting sick are really getting sick. So this isn't the
Yeah.
flu this year is not just like, 24 hours of low grade fevers. We're seeing a lot of, high fevers for multiple days, a little bit of a longer bounce back time, appetites that are really affected. Um, that I don't want to get off the couch, kind of super lethargic,
Mhm.
achy, which achiness in kids can be kind of tricky because it's a hard sensation to describe in
Mhm.
younger ones. But yeah, this has been a rough season, and the timing of, I think, the peak of, flu, which we're still kind of living through it, but of course fell right around the holidays, which I think makes
Mhm.
everything feel a little bit more heavy. But
Yeah.
hopefully, as each week goes by, we're kind of getting out of the woods of the really heavy stuff.
Yeah. I've heard mixed things that like so I'm pretty sure my kid I didn't actually get them tested, but what I experienced, Gus got it first and he had a really high fever, really bad headache, um, and it lasted like 5 days.
Yeah.
And he was still eating and drinking fine. Um, and he slept like the whole time,
Hmm.
like 16 hours, 17 hours a day, just like sleeping. Um, and then Greta was kind of the same,
Hmm.
but she only had headache one day, but then a really, really bad sore throat,
Mm.
like razor blades,
Oh, yeah.
like sore throat. And that is lasting forever. But I've heard that it's also like digestive stuff too, like throwing up and like diarrhea stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. So the tricky part about flu is that there's a lot of different strains. So
Mm,
primarily, like, you either get tested for flu A or flu B, but even when you're talking flu A, there are additional, strains of flu A or subtypes of
yeah.
flu A. And some of these subtypes can be really intense. And some years we'll see patterns where, flu A peaks, usually earlier in the year. And sometimes, depending on the year, that looks more like respiratory symptoms or sore throat or fever. And then there will be, patterns where we notice flu B looks like, more GI stuff, but that can also just vary from person to person and kid to kid. But
Mhm.
that's the tricky part about the flu is that it can look so different. And so,
Right.
anytime that you have high fever, respiratory symptoms, headache, body ache, GI plus or minus, you're probably
Yeah.
dealing with some flu like illness, whether you test or not.
Yeah.
But that is the that's the tricky part is that it is
Right.
not just like a cold or an upper respiratory infection where you just get your runny nose, your sneezing, your sore throat and cough.
Right.
It can be your whole body is kind of under attack, and taken out. So,
And then it's hard because it's like a fever for that long. They're so tired and wiped out. It takes them obviously a long time to recover from that.
yeah.
And the things you'll go to as a mom to try to get them to smile, you miss that like
Yeah.
energy again. Like, I will do anything for you to jump off this couch right now
Yeah.
and like be bouncing off the walls.
Yeah. And I
Like
think,
Gus is like endless and energy,
yeah.
endless. And before he was sick, I would have been like, please just sit down. Please stop moving for like 5 seconds. And then he's sick, and I'm like, please
Yeah.
start moving all over the place
Yeah.
again.
So, similarly, my daughter Adele, she's quite feisty and had the
Yes.
flu the week before Christmas. And it was like the first 48 hours, she didn't fight back on anything. She didn't argue. She just,
Yeah.
and I'm like, the first couple of times you're like, oh, thank you for listening. And oh, well, this is
Yeah. You're
very
so
lovely. And
good.
then
Yeah.
that by the end of the day, you're like, what happened to my little girl? Like that's you're not even remotely close to your normal. And I think that's a hard part too as a mom. Like when you know your kids so well and they look off or they
Mhm.
don't look quite right, um, and you do end up needing to go in to see somebody. and you don't have a rapport or a relationship with that person, and for them to kind of be like, oh, like it's all good. There's nothing worse as a mom, and I know this because I brought Adele in when she was not feeling good, but there's nothing worse for somebody to just be like, oh, she's good. And it's like, but she's not. Like, she does that.
Right.
This situation is not my daughter. And
Right.
so that's another aspect of this whole practice, is that if you really
Yeah.
know families well and you know kids when they're well, it's so comforting for families and also easier for me to be able to identify illness. And so I think
Right.
that, you watching Gus not be, that's just heavy as a parent when
Yeah,
your kids
for
aren't
sure.
100%. So,
So when should moms bring kids in for the flu? Like when, especially like younger
mhm.
kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, even me, I ended up not bringing in because I was like, what can doctors do?
Yeah.
I guess. But when when should moms bring kids in?
Good question. So, it varies a little bit, but for younger kids, we worry about fevers that last more than 4 days or that aren't at least coming down by a point with fever reducing medication. So
Mm,
if your little one has a fever and you give ibuprofen or Tylenol and it perks them up a little bit and it's bringing it at least down instead of going back up, that's usually okay to watch at home. We also talk about like treating the kid, not the number. So there are some kids that can walk around
mhm.
with a temp of 102 and are playful and, are eating and drinking and are just acting otherwise fine. And then there are kids with 101 that refuse to drink, refuse to eat, are what we call
Mm,
lethargic. Like that would be concerning to me more than the number. So
right.
that part, looking at the actual kid and the whole picture sometimes is more helpful than just getting too alarmed about numbers, because fevers are a good thing. That's your body's way of fighting off whatever infection is happening. And then the fluids is a huge deal with the flu. So if a kid is not wanting to eat, especially in the first couple of days, that's really okay. It's more the liquid. So if a child is like refusing to drink and not having, at least one trip to the bathroom or wet diaper every 6 to 8 hours, that would be worthy of being evaluated. And then any respiratory distress at all, if kids are working hard with breathing, you are noticing those retractions in the chest or the nostrils or the neck area, that would also be a reason to go in. And then there is a medication out there called Tamiflu. And if that is something that you would be interested in using, or you think that that would be, something that you would want to start for your child, that's usually only recommended in the first 48 hours. So that would be a
Mhm.
reason to go in earlier than later if that medication was something that you were hoping to get. But if that's
Are there age restrictions on that?
we no, I had to think about that for a second. No, you can dose
No. Mm,
little ones, and there's also prophylactic dosing. But Tamiflu is kind of where I trained. We hardly ever gave Tamiflu, and
right.
then I think guidelines have changed a little bit, and it's become a little bit more accessible, or we give it out a little bit more than maybe we used to 5 to 7 years ago. But
Yeah.
it's not for
I
everybody.
know. Why is there a block in my head on Tamiflu?
I
I
think it
can't
kind of
like
has
put
a
my
bad
finger
rep,
on
to be
it.
honest. Sometimes I think it
I
on maybe
know.
social media, or just it sometimes can make GI symptoms. It doesn't taste great, is the first thing. And sometimes
Mm,
it can make GI symptoms a little bit more intense. Like it can cause vomiting
mhm.
and stomach upset. And so I'll always, like, if I do give it to a family, if they're asking for it, or if a kid has like um, any comorbidities, like they have diabetes or asthma, like a high risk kid, you
Right.
definitely want to be offering Tamiflu.
Okay.
But I always say, like, if it's making things worse, like if they're vomiting or if they're really complaining of stomach pain, you do not have to finish the whole course. It's not like an
Right. Not like
antibiotic. So
antibiotic. Mhm.
sometimes it's just kind of a case by case thing, but that's a time sensitive thing. That's kind of the only reason I brought it up.
Yeah. Okay, so on the I always have this fight with my mom
Mhm,
on the like subject of fevers.
mhm,
I I'm not very crunchy but I'm not a huge medicine
Mm-hmm.
person. So like I always kind of err on letting the fever go a little
Well
bit. And
done.
my mom's always like, give them all the medicine.
Yeah.
And so what's kind of your protocol with
Yeah.
fevers?
So, and this varies by parent. So there are some parents that get very concerned about fevers, and fevers produce a lot of anxiety. And if that's you, there's nothing wrong with using Tylenol or Motrin. Some kids experience something called febrile seizures, and that can be
Mhm.
really unsettling for parents. And so those kids will usually say, like, yep, if there's any sign of a fever, go ahead and start Tylenol or ibuprofen. Um, but kind of going back to treat the kid, not the number. If your child has a fever, but they're drinking and they are, not lethargic and they're overall doing
Mhm.
okay, it's absolutely fine to hold off on medication and just let the body do its thing. Fever is a wonderful thing.
Right.
But if that fever is getting up to like that 104 or higher,
Right.
or a kid is really uncomfortable or refusing to drink or eat, it's
Mhm.
probably a good idea just to give a dose, just mainly because it can help with the hydration. So if you're feeling really,
Right.
really crummy, sometimes some medicine can help with the intake. But you
Mhm.
are right. You do not need to, every time you see an elevated temperature, you do not need to give Tylenol or Motrin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did just see a friend of mine, her son had a febrile seizure. And so that is so scary,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that is hard to like determine of when, to do
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's hard.
And
So what are like your, like if a mom was like, okay, what medicines should I have on hand
mhm,
for like my toddlers
mhm.
and my babies? What should I have? And what are like some, you don't like, this is marketed, but it's like a gimmick.
Okay. Um, yeah. And this, I'm going to go a little bit beyond just medicine, because I think like there's just stuff you should
Mhm.
have in your house this time of year.
Yes.
Starting with, I mean, if your child is above the age of 6 months, it's a good idea to have Motrin in the house.
Mhm.
I personally, with my own kids, I prefer Motrin over Tylenol. It lasts longer and it also helps with inflammation. So if you have, a swollen throat, or if you have a kid with teething pain and there's swelling there, Motrin helps with that as well. If you have a younger kiddo that's less than 6 months, Tylenol is really your only option. So
Mhm.
that would be a good thing to have at home too. And there are some situations where you can alternate the medication. So if a kid is on ibuprofen and then they still have a fever, they're still feeling really lousy, but you are not due for another dose, you can certainly give
Mhm.
a dose of Tylenol on top of it. And then reach out to your provider if you have questions about, continuing to alternate. But that it's a good idea to probably have both on hand. Um,
Right.
Lots of types of fluids. So, like, good rehydrators are like coconut water or watered down
Mm.
juices, like watered down apple juice. Sometimes straight water can make nausea feel a little worse.
Mhm.
Popsicles are a great way to get in fluids. And I know it sounds old school, but some good old jello is a good way to get in
Yes.
some liquid, as well as like having some chicken noodle soup on hand. Like, those good broths are good. Pedialyte makes popsicles. Those are a great rehydrator. I think one of my favorite parenting hacks is kids with a fever, just put them in the bathtub with a popsicle. Like, baths and
Mhm.
popsicles make a lot of things better. So that's a great way to
Yes.
bring a fever down and get some hydration in. And then there are like a lot of over the counter immune supports for toddlers and kids. A lot of them include like zinc or elderberry. Honey in kids over the age of 1 is an excellent way to soothe sore throat and coughs. And a lot of the marketed medications really are just packaged honey. And so just having some good
Right.
honey in your house. And then other things that are just so important this time of year that seem silly, but they're really not, is getting enough sleep. And so I know, especially
Mhm.
around the holidays, everyone's kind of busy and has full schedules, but prioritizing sleep for your family and really focusing on washing hands with like good warm water and soap, and sanitizer when you don't have access to it, and you don't have to be going crazy with that stuff, but if you're a place where you've touched a lot of surfaces or there's lots of people, that's a
Right.
good way to mitigate germs as well.
You know what I've been seeing lately, because I've been like doing all the flu things on
Yeah.
social media right now, but it's like like spray, and they're saying that it like stops the spread.
Yeah.
Have you seen this at
Like the
all?
saline
Do you know
sprays
what
in
I'm
the
talking?
nose.
Yeah.
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 There's certainly a good way to like, what happens is like kids are not great at blowing their nose, right? And so you're
Mhm.
sitting with all of that mucus in your nose, and those, it can help just irrigate and kind of get rid of all of that stuff.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, as far as like viral load count, I don't know. I'd have to read about that a little bit,
Yes.
but that would be
That's kinda what
another.
I've been seeing.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought that was interesting.
yeah, it certainly does not hurt to be using the saline sprays and the nasal irrigation. It's just really hard to get kids to cooperate with that.
Yeah. What are some big, like, no-nos when kids get the flu? Is there anything like that you're like, "Do not do this," like
Mm,
hot baths or cold baths or
I mean, outside of just like the common sense stuff, I would not ignore prolonged fevers. I would
Mhm,
not try to push to get back to your normal too quickly. Because I mean, your experience and my experience before Christmas with Adele, like 4 or 5 days of fever means 4 or 5 missed days of work. And so,
right,
as parents, it can feel like you want to kind of push, like, oh, you're better, you're get going. But the reality
right,
is, like, it takes a while for the body to kind of be back to baseline. So, just like not pushing, I guess, too quickly.
yeah,
And then you definitely don't want to be around other people while you still have a fever. So I would
mhm.
try to mitigate being around others until that fever is 25 hour or 24 hours behind you, and then can certainly be around others.
What is something parents worry about that not medically is usually a big deal that you come in and you're
I think the not eating, that's a big one. So, and I'm guilty of this too, because Adele didn't eat for like four
mhm,
days before Christmas. She was only drinking. But it's scary when you have little ones and they don't eat anything. But the reality is, the hydration is so much more important than the eating. And so I would really focus efforts on, even if it's like a couple of sips every 20 to 30 minutes. That
mhm.
is so much more important than food intake when kids are not feeling well. That would,
What about not even, like, flu related, just, like, people coming in and they're worried about XYZ of their babies or their
mm,
toddlers? Like, I remember when my kids were little, I was so worried about dry drowning.
yeah, we kind of all have our things. I know for me, choking, I worry about choking. Like, it it just creates a lot of anxiety for me. I probably will be cutting my daughter's grapes until she's in the sixth grade. But yeah, I think we all kind of have our thing, and there are like patterns. Like as a collective group of moms, I think we
Mm,
all are. There are probably like a top three or four, but I think choking is a big one. I think in the early days, like just babies getting enough, and whether that's like
mm,
nursing or formula, like we just worry about our babies growing. And then I think
yes.
that does kind of like transition into the toddler years when just intake slows down a ton, and moms, worry a lot about growth. And so that's, I would say, a big one. And then development. I mean, I know these are probably generic answers, they're not like crazy, but those are probably the biggest things because it's different for everyone. So you can be, in a mom group or have a bunch of family members with, 5 12-year-old or 5 12-month olds, and everyone's kind of in a different spot developmentally. And a lot of it
Right.
is normal. So I think getting away from the you should be doing X, Y, and Z at this age to just it's a little bit more fluid than that.
Yeah.
I think those are usually the big worries that most of the time are less of a concern.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay, just a few more.
Yeah.
What vitamins or do you have any vitamins that your like kids like should be taking, toddlers should be taking?
Yeah. I mean, a good multivitamin goes a long way. And the market for multivitamins is a little overwhelming to navigate. It's just like you go into Target and it's nuts. But anything that has like calcium is a good, important one, especially if kids aren't huge milk drinkers. Vitamin D is really beneficial. The majority of people are vitamin D deficient, kids included, even living in beautiful sunny Colorado. So making sure that your multivitamin has vitamin D in it. And then like there are things like for particular concerns. So like magnesium and iron play a huge role with a lot of bodily functions, primarily like sleep. And so making sure that if you aren't eating like an iron rich diet, that a multivitamin that you pick has like magnesium and iron in it, that can be helpful. And then there are just like lots of products like magnesium supplements or, like vitamins or supplements specific that are being marketed for like specific reasons, like digestive health or like calm supplements. So just running those past somebody is
Yes.
helpful because there's not a ton of regulation with supplements, especially in the pediatric space. But I think that a really good multivitamin can go a long way.
Yeah. Great. Well, that's really all I have. I know you have patients coming in, but we had one, Lisa reached out and she said, no questions. Just wanted to say I am beyond impressed with you. Watching you take this leap has been so inspiring. The bravery, dedication, the vision it takes to start your own practice as a pediatric nurse practitioner is remarkable. I've seen firsthand the impact you have on patients and families. They are very lucky to have you. You should be so proud of what you have built and the impact you've always have. I miss you, Lisa.
That's going to make me cry.
So you have a
Did that Lisa's last name start with a G by chance?
I only have, yes, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So I have to give a little shout out to Lisa because my first NP job at CHOP in Philadelphia, she was a nurse practitioner that has just been the most wonderful cheerleader and mentor. And I miss her dearly, but we got to go to the national conference in New Orleans together. And this was pre-kids. And we had the best time. It was, so we got to figure out another date to go to the national PEDS NP conferse because, yes, she's just lovely. So that was very kind of her to say those.
I'm crying too. Women supporting women is my favorite thing in the world. So
yes. Yep.
That's amazing.
And she's the best.
So,
all right. Well, thank you for including
group
that.
Of women just cheering you on.
Well,
I wish I could
you
be
as
there
well.
to send my kids to you.
Yeah, well, next time you visit, you'll have to swing by and say hi.
We'll just do checkups.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You only need them every year, so you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is amazing too. This podcast for moms and women and everything that you're doing at Parker Baby. Just so proud to call you a friend.
Thanks, Hannah. You're so great. Well, thanks for being here. Next month, I'm having Amy on. Our other friend.
I love it.
Another book club friend. She's talking about car seat safety.
Oh, I love that. It's so important. So important.
She's our friend that took all the car seats to the fire department to have them check everything. And she's on all the Facebook groups and all the things. So she's going to talk about that. I'm not the one.
Well, that's why you have people like Amy. Yes, that's why you have people like her. Yes. The best friend there could be. I just surround
myself by really smart people so they can tell me what to do.
Oh, stop. Stop.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. I hope you have a great day and that you guys stay healthy.
You as well.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Rooted Conversations. I hope this episode reminded you that you're growing. You're growing a strong family and you're growing as a parent. One moment, one choice, and one hug at a time. I'll see you next time.